She crashed into a cold Tycoon. He smirked. Dinner first, then your heart. Hello everyone, before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It is quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support truly means the world to us. Where are you watching from right now? Please drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now let us return to our main character. The soft hum of conversation fills the upscale restaurant, mixing with the gentle clink of silverware against porcelain plates. Warm golden lights hang low from the ceiling, casting reflections across polished glass walls and marble floors. Everything here looks expensive, carefully curated. Perfect, except for her. Emma Carter pauses just outside the entrance, her reflection staring back at her from the glass. Her coat is secondhand, the sleeves slightly too short. Her shoes, though clean, show the faint scuffs of miles walked instead of miles driven. She exhales slowly, steadying herself. You promised yourself you would try, she reminds herself. Just one dinner. Her phone buzzes in her hand. A message from her best friend reads table 12. You have got this. Emma slips the phone into her pocket and steps inside. The host smiles politely and gestures toward the dining area. Emma nods, her eyes scanning the room as she walks. Tables blur together. Candles flicker. Voices rise and fall. Her heart beats faster with every step. Table 10. Table 11. Then she sees him. A man sits alone at a corner table, his posture straight, his dark suit perfectly tailored. His attention is fixed on his phone, his expression unreadable. Calm, cold, controlled. He looks like he belongs here in a way Emma never has. Table 12, she thinks. Her nerves make the decision for her. She walks straight toward him. I am so sorry I am late, she says quickly, already pulling out the chair. Traffic was awful. The man looks up. His eyes are sharp, calculating, and very clearly surprised. For a brief moment he seems ready to correct her. His lips part slightly. Then his phone buzzes again in his hand. He glances down, reads something, and something subtle shifts in his expression. He looks back at Emma. No problem, he says calmly. Please sit. Emma lets out a breath. She did not realize she was holding and settles into the chair across from him. I am Emma, she adds, offering a nervous smile. Nice to finally meet you. There is a pause, just long enough to feel strange. Daniel, he replies. His voice is low, steady. Nice to meet you too. She laughs, softly relieved. Blind dates are so awkward, right? My friend warned me you might be a little quiet, but that is okay. I talk enough for both of us. A faint smirk touches the corner of his mouth. I noticed, he says. Emma blushes, but keeps smiling. She reaches for her water, her fingers fidgeting around the glass. So she continues, trying to sound casual. What do you do, Daniel? He leans back, slightly studying her. I work in business. Business, she repeats. That sounds important. It pays the bills, he says. She laughs again. Well, I am a waitress. Not exactly glamorous, but it keeps the lights on.
Something in his gaze softens.
Just a fraction. Before either of them can say more, Emma shifts in her seat and accidentally knocks her elbow against the edge of the table. Her glass tips. Water spills, splashing across the tablecloth and dripping onto the floor. Oh my gosh, I am so sorry, she says, standing up in a panic. I am such a mess. She grabs napkins, trying to fix the damage, but in her rush, she bumps into him. Hard. The chair scrapes back. The moment freezes. Emma looks up, horrified. I am so sorry, she blurts out. I swear I am not always this clumsy. Daniel looks down at the damp sleeve of his expensive suit, then back at her. His expression is unreadable for one long second. Then he smiles. Slowly, deliberately. Well, he says, his voice calm but amused. It looks like you owe me. Emma's stomach drops. I can pay for the cleaning, she says quickly. He did not yet realize that the decision he had just made would not end at his sister's wedding. It would begin there. The woman who stepped into Michael Stone's office did not look like someone who belonged there. She paused just inside the doorway, shoulders squared but hands clasped tightly in front of her, as if she were bracing herself. The floor-to-ceiling windows behind Michael reflected her faintly, making her seem smaller than she was. Her coat was simple, but in that single accidental collision, something irreversible has already begun. Dinner continues, but for Emma time feels strangely distorted. The restaurant that once felt overwhelming now fades into a soft blur of voices and clinking glasses. She sits across from Daniel, nodding, smiling, answering questions automatically while her thoughts drift somewhere far less elegant. This is too nice, she thinks. Not Daniel. Not the conversation. The place. She notices how effortlessly he belongs here. The way servers approach him with quiet respect. The way he barely needs to look at the menu before ordering. Meanwhile, Emma calculates prices, without meaning to her eyes, flicking to the corner of the page, where numbers quietly scream. When the server walks away, Daniel studies her again. You seem distracted, he says. Emma blinks. Sorry. Long day. He waits. He does not push. That somehow makes her speak. I worked a double shift, she admits. Someone called in sick, and I needed the hours. Do you work nearby? He asks. 2 blocks from here, she says. A diner. Nothing fancy, but it is busy, especially on weekends. Daniel nods, slowly. Do you like it? She hesitates. I like that it pays rent. Most months. There it is. The truth slips out before she can stop it. Daniel does not react the way she expects. No pity. No awkward silence. Most months is still something he says. Emma smiles faintly. That is what I tell myself. She takes a sip of water, then adds quietly, my landlord does not see it that way. Daniel leans back in his chair. Rent increases, she laughs short and humorless. Late fees. Utility bills. Life. For a moment, neither of them speaks. Emma feels exposed, like she has said too much. She starts to pull back to joke it off, but Daniel speaks first. What do you want to be doing? He asks. If money was not an issue. The question catches her off guard. She opens her mouth, then closes it again. No one ever asks her that. Not seriously. I draw, she says finally. Paint sometimes. Mostly sketches. Daniel tilts his head slightly. For yourself or for work for me, she says. I mean, it is not like I am selling anything. It is just something I do when things feel too heavy. She almost laughs again, embarrassed. I know that sounds ridiculous. It does not, he says calmly. And you think money makes things uncomplicated? He did not argue. She turned to the last page. There are penalties for breach of confidentiality, Anna said. Strict ones. My family does not need to know this is an arrangement, Michael replied. And neither does the press. She closed the folder gently. There is one condition I want to add, Anna said. Michael straightened. Go on. I will not lie about who I am, she said. I will not invent a backstory beyond what you tell your family. If they ask questions, you answer them. Not me. Michael considered this, then nodded. Agreed. And one more, she added. No emotional manipulation. I will play the role in public, but I will not be tested or humiliated for your family's approval. Something flickered in his eyes. Respect. Agreed, he said again. Anna exhaled slowly, as if she had been holding her breath since she walked in. It is okay, she says. I am used to walking alone. I know, he says. But humor me. They walk in silence for half a block. Then, Emma stops suddenly. My place is that way, she says, pointing toward a dimmer street lined with older buildings. Fewer lights. Less noise. Daniel follows her gaze. Thank you for dinner, she adds, and for not making tonight awkward. He smiles, just a little. It was not awkward. She hesitates, then blurts out, You are not what I expected. Neither are you, he says. Emma nods, unsure why that feels important. As she turns to leave, Daniel speaks again. Emma. She looks back. Would you have dinner with me again? He asks. Not as repayment. Just as yourself. She considers it. The long hours. The bills. The sensible voice in her head. Then she smiles. Yes, she says. The diner smells like coffee grease and something faintly sweet that never quite leaves the air. Emma ties her apron tighter around her waist as she steps behind the counter, already moving on instinct. Orders come in fast. Plates go out faster. Her body knows the rhythm even when her mind drifts. And today it drifts to Daniel. Not to his suit or the restaurant or the way he paid without hesitation. It drifts to the way he listened. The way he asked what she wanted to be, not what she did. The flight to Boston lifted off just after sunrise, the city shrinking beneath a veil of pale clouds. Michael Stone sat by the window posture, composed tablet resting unread on his lap. Across the aisle, Anna Reed adjusted her seatbelt, gaze fixed forward. They had spoken little since boarding. Not out of tension, but intention. This was the first rule of the contract in action. Appear united. Remain distant. To anyone watching, they looked like a married couple, comfortable in silence. That illusion mattered more than conversation. At Logan Airport, a driver was waiting with a black sedan and Michael's name printed neatly on a placard. Anna noticed how easily doors opened for him, how people moved, just a little faster when he stepped forward. Power, she realized, did not need to announce itself. The Stone family estate sat just outside the city, a historic property with white columns and manicured lawns that looked untouched by time. This time, she lets herself draw. Her phone buzzes. A message from Daniel. I was thinking about what you said, about drawing. Would you show me sometime? Emma stares at the screen. Her first instinct is to say no. It always is. Her art feels too close to her chest, too fragile to hand to someone else. Then she types back. Maybe. It is nothing special. The reply comes quickly. I do not believe that. The next evening, they meet again. You are finally here. Then her gaze dropped to Anna. And you must be the woman who married my son without telling me, she added, eyes sharp but curious. Michael smiled, the practiced public version. Mom, this is Anna, my wife. Anna stepped forward and extended her hand. It is wonderful to finally meet you. The words came easily. The tone respectful, not eager. His mother studied her for a long moment, then took her hand. Well, she said, you are not what I expected. Anna smiled politely. Neither was this weekend. A flicker of surprise crossed the older woman's face, then amusement. Inside the house, buzzed with relatives, planners, and last-minute chaos. Everywhere they went, eyes followed. Anna felt it immediately. The unspoken evaluation, the silent comparisons. At lunch, Michael's aunt leaned in close. So how did you two meet? Michael opened his mouth, but Anna spoke first smoothly. At a fundraising event in New York. Emma tells him about her mother, about learning to draw at the kitchen table while bills piled up nearby. Daniel listens, hands in his pockets, eyes forward. She does not ask about his life. Not yet. At home that night, Emma pins one of her sketches to the wall above her bed. She leaves the sketchbook open on the table as if daring herself to believe something might come of it. Across the city, Daniel stands alone in a quiet apartment that is far too large for one person. During the rehearsal dinner, Lily raised her glass. To my brother, she said, smiling brightly, and to the woman brave enough to marry him. Laughter followed. Anna felt Michael's hand tighten briefly around hers beneath the table. Later, as the guests drifted away, Lily cornered Anna near the terrace. You know, she said softly, Michael never brings anyone home. Anna met her gaze. People change. Lily studied her for a moment. Just do not hurt him. Anna swallowed. She is carrying a paper bag of groceries, her arms already sore from a long shift, when she nearly collides with someone stepping out of the small corner bookstore near her apartment. Sorry, she says, automatically adjusting her grip. Then she looks up. Daniel freezes for half a second, clearly just as surprised. Emma, he says. Hi. Her first instinct is to smile, and then she catches herself. This is not a date. This is real life. Fluorescent lights. Discount groceries. No candles. No table numbers. Hi, she replies. I did not expect to see you here. He glances back at the bookstore. I was looking for something to read. She raises an eyebrow. Something specific, not really, he admits. I just wanted something quiet. That makes sense to her in a way she cannot explain. They stand there awkwardly for a moment, people passing around them, until Emma shifts the bag in her arms. I was just heading home, she says. But there is a bench around the corner if you want to sit for a minute. Daniel nods. I would like that. The bench is chipped and old, facing a narrow street where cars pass slowly. Emma sets the bag at her feet and stretches her fingers. Long day? Daniel asks. She lets out a breath. Long life. He smiles softly. Fair enough. They talk about small things at first. The weather. The bookstore. The coffee shop they passed earlier. It feels easier than it should, like picking up a conversation that never really ended. You never told me much about yourself, Emma says eventually. Just that you work in business. Daniel looks ahead, watching a car disappear down the street. There is not much to tell, he says. I spend most of my time working. Do you like it? He considers the question carefully. I am good at it. That was not my question, she says gently. Daniel exhales. No, he says. But it is familiar. Emma nods. She understands that answer more than she expected. A silence settles between them, not uncomfortable, just present. My place is close, Emma says, suddenly surprising herself. Not inside, just the building. You can see the mural on the side wall. I like it. Daniel stands. Lead the way. The mural is faded, painted years ago by someone long gone. A city skyline rising into a sky filled with color. Emma watches his face as he looks at it. I used to come here when I was a teenager, she says. I would sit across the street and draw it over and over. I liked that it made the block feel less forgotten. It does, Daniel says. It feels human. She looks at him. You notice things. So do you, he replies. Her phone buzzes, a reminder about her electric bill. The moment shatters slightly. I should go, she says, picking up her bag. Early morning again. Daniel hesitates. May I walk you to your door? She nods. At the entrance of her building, Emma stops. This is me, she says. Daniel stands a respectful distance away. I'm glad I ran into you, he says. So am I, she replies. He starts to leave, then turns back. Dinner this weekend, he asks. Nothing fancy. Emma smiles. Okay. As she walks upstairs, the groceries heavy in her hands, Emma feels something unfamiliar settle in her chest. Hope. She does not know who Daniel really is. She does not know what secrets he keeps. But for the first time in a long while, she does not feel invisible. And for now, that is enough. Dinner this time is simple. A small neighborhood restaurant with mismatched chairs and handwritten specials taped to the wall. Emma feels more like herself here. No polished floors. No quiet judgment in the air. Just noise, warmth, and people who linger. Daniel arrives a few minutes early. When Emma walks in, he stands instinctively, like the movement is second nature to him. She notices even if she pretends not to. You found the place, she says. I followed your directions, he replies. Very specific. She smiles. I take food seriously. They order without looking at prices. Emma catches herself halfway through, then relaxes when she realizes the numbers do not matter here. They talk more freely tonight. About nothing and then about everything. Emma tells him about the diner, about regular customers she knows by name and order. About the old man who tips in coins and the woman who always asks for extra napkins. Daniel listens, amused. You notice people, he says. You have to, Emma replies. Otherwise, the days blur together. He considers that. She asks about his childhood. He answers carefully, sharing pieces without details. A mother who valued discipline. A father who believed in silence. A house where achievement mattered more than comfort. You sound lonely, she says softly. He looks at her for a long moment. I am used to it. After dinner, they walk. The city feels different at night. Slower. More honest. Emma points out small things she likes. A bakery that stays open late. A corner where street musicians sometimes play. Daniel watches her, not the city. At her apartment, she hesitates. Do you want to come up? She asks. It is nothing special. I would like to, he says. Inside, Daniel takes in the space quietly. The small kitchen. The second-hand couch. The sketches taped to the wall. He stops in front of one. That is the mural, he says. Emma nods. I redraw it whenever I feel stuck. He turns to her. You are not stuck. She laughs, lightly. You do not know my bank account. I know your courage, he replies. The words settle between them. They sit on opposite ends of the couch, close but not touching. The silence is comfortable, heavy in a new way. Emma breaks it. You never talk about your work. Daniel looks down. I like not being that person with you. She nods, slowly. I like that too. He reaches out, hesitates, then takes her hand. The touch is gentle, asking rather than taking. Emma does not pull away. For a moment, everything feels simple. Honest. Real. Later, after he leaves, Emma lies awake, staring at the ceiling. Her sketchbook rests open beside her, a blank page waiting. She draws him from memory. The curve of his jaw. The stillness in his eyes. Across town, Daniel stands at his window again. The city lights stretch endlessly below. His phone vibrates with messages he does not open. For the first time, he feels the weight of what he is hiding. And for the first time, he is not sure how long he can keep the truth from the woman who is quietly becoming everything. The invitation arrives on a Tuesday. Emma almost throws it away. It slips out of her mailbox with a stack of grocery flyers, thick paper, elegant lettering. She only pauses because her name is written in ink, not printed. Daniel, she murmurs, reading the small note attached. Please come with me. It matters. She tells herself it is just an event, a charity thing. He mentioned once that his company supported a few foundations. Nothing about the envelope suggests luxury, but something about the weight of it makes her uneasy. The night of the event, Emma stands in her apartment staring at herself in the mirror. She wears a simple black dress she bought years ago for a wedding she never attended. She pins her hair back, then undoes it, pins it again. Her sketchbook lies open on the bed, forgotten. Daniel arrives right on time. When she opens the door, she almost does not recognize him. He looks polished tonight. Not cold, but composed in a way that feels practiced. The suit fits him too well. The confidence sits differently on his shoulders. You look beautiful, he says. So do you, she replies, then laughs softly. Too beautiful for wherever we are going. He hesitates. Just for a second. Emma does not notice. The venue is downtown. A restored historic building glowing with light. Valets line the curb. Guests step out of sleek cars dressed in elegance that feels effortless. Emma's hand tightens around Daniel's arm. I do not think I belong here, she whispers. You do, he says quietly. Inside the room hums with conversation. Champagne glasses clink. A string quartet plays somewhere unseen. Emma feels like she is walking through a movie she did not audition for. People look at Daniel. Not casually. Not politely. With recognition. A man approaches them, smiling wide. Daniel, you finally made it. Daniel nods. Good to see you. And this must be Emma the man, adds, already extending his hand. I have heard so much about you. Emma blinks. You have. Before she can ask more, another voice cuts in. Daniel, we are about to begin. He squeezes her hand once. I will be right back. She watches him walk away, confusion settling deep in her chest. Whispers ripple through the room. Someone taps a glass. The music fades. A woman steps onto the stage, smiling warmly. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us tonight. Before we begin our program, I would like to recognize the man who made this evening possible. Emma's breath catches. Please welcome the founder and chief executive officer of Carter Holdings, our guest of honor this evening, Daniel Carter. The room erupts in applause. Emma does not clap. Her ears ring as Daniel steps into the light. Confident, commanding, familiar in a way that suddenly makes sense. Millionaire, CEO. The words crash into her like cold water. She feels stupid, exposed, played. Daniel speaks. She does not hear a word. When the applause fades and the crowd begins to move again, Emma turns and walks toward the exit. Her steps are fast, uneven. She does not make it far before Daniel catches up. Emma, he says. She turns, her eyes sharp. How long he swallows. From the beginning. The truth lands hard. You let me believe you were someone else, she says. You watched me open up. You watched me talk about money, about fear, about everything. I never lied, he says quietly. You did? She snaps. You just did it by omission. People pass around them unaware of the fracture happening inches away. I wanted you to know me, he says. Not my name, not my money. And you did not trust me with the truth, she replies. That tells me everything. She hands him the invitation. I was real with you, she says. You were not. Then she walks away, leaving Daniel standing alone in a room that suddenly feels much colder than any silence he has ever known. Emma does not cry that night. She walks all the way home, heels in her hand, the cool pavement pressing truth into every step. Her apartment greets her with the same quiet it always has, but tonight it feels heavier, like the walls are listening. She locks the door, leans her forehead against it. Then she exhales. Slow, controlled, the way you breathe when you refuse to fall apart. On the table, her sketchbook waits. Open. The page where she drew Daniel days ago stares back at her. She closes it with more force than necessary and slides it into a drawer. Not tonight. The next morning, life does not pause for heartbreak. The diner is loud. Orders pile up. Coffee spills. A customer complains about toast. Emma moves through it all on muscle memory alone. She smiles when required, apologizes when expected. No one notices the absence behind her eyes. But Daniel does. He does not show up at the diner. He does not call. He does not send messages pretending nothing happened. Instead, he waits. 3 days later, Emma finds him outside her building. He stands across the street near the faded mural, hands in his coat pockets posture, still like a man who knows he deserves to be left there. Her first instinct is to turn around. She does not. What are you doing here? She asks, stopping a few feet away. I wanted to talk, Daniel says. His voice is quieter than she remembers. Not to explain, just to listen. She crosses her arms. You already know how I feel. I know you were hurt, he says. I want to understand it. Emma laughs once. Sharp. You understand contracts, negotiations, risk. Do not pretend this is unfamiliar territory. His jaw tightens. This is unfamiliar, he says. Because I cannot fix it with money. That makes her pause. You made me feel small, she says finally. Not because you are rich, but because you decided I could not be trusted with the truth. Daniel nods slowly. I was wrong. She searches his face, looking for defensiveness. Excuses. She finds none. I thought, he continues, that if you knew who I was, everything between us would change. And I was afraid of that. And so you chose to control the situation instead, Emma says. You chose comfort over honesty. Yes, he says. And I lost you because of it. Silence stretches between them. A car passes. Somewhere a door slams. I do not want apologies, Emma says. I want respect. You have it, Daniel replies, even if that means walking away. The words land differently than she expects. You are letting me go? She asks. I am not holding you, he says. There is a difference. Emma swallows. I need space, she says. I will give it, he replies. He takes a step back. Then another. I meant what I said before, he adds gently. About you. About your art. About who you are. She does not respond. Daniel leaves. That night, Emma opens her sketchbook again. Her hands tremble as she turns the pages. She does not draw him this time. She draws the mural, the city, the space between two people standing across the street from each other, saying everything without touching. Across town, Daniel sits alone in his office long after everyone has gone home. The lights are off. The city glows beyond the glass. For the first time in his life, success feels hollow. And for the first time, he understands that love is not proven by silence, but by the courage to be seen. Emma finds out by accident. It is late afternoon when she steps into the community center near the diner, the one that sometimes lets local artists pin flyers on the corkboard. She is dropping off a sketch for an open call wall when she notices the room feels different. Cleaner, brighter. The old lights have been replaced. Fresh paint covers the once cracked walls. Easels line the far side of the room, each one spaced carefully, deliberately. Emma slows. At the center of the space, a small sign hangs near the entrance. The Art of Emma Carter. Her breath catches. "That cannot be right," she whispers. A woman organizing pamphlets nearby looks up and smiles. "Are you Emma?" Emma nods barely. "You should come back tonight," the woman says. "This exhibit is for you." Confusion churns in her chest all the way home. She almost does not return. But curiosity wins. That evening, the community center fills quietly. Not with champagne and suits, but with neighbors. Diners she recognizes. The bookstore clerk. The woman from the bakery. People from her real life. Her sketches line the walls. The mural. The street light. The diner counter at dawn. Moments she never thought mattered enough to be seen. A note sits beside the final piece. "I did not choose these for their beauty. I chose them for their honesty." Emma turns. Daniel stands a few feet away. Not in a suit. No stage. No applause. Just him. "I asked the center to host this," he says carefully. "I funded the renovations. But I did not curate anything myself. I only asked what you needed." Emma struggles to breathe. "You used your money," she says, voice shaking, "but you did not use it to control me." He nods. "I learned the difference." She looks around the room again. At the people. At the art. "You could have done this anywhere," she says. "A gallery. A headline." "This is where you belong," he replies. "Where your work speaks without my name attached." Silence settles between them. "I am not asking you to forgive me," Daniel continues. "I'm asking you to see me as I am now. Fully. Honestly." Emma studies his face. The openness. The restraint. "You scared me," she admits. "Not because of who you are, but because I felt small next to the truth." "I will never hide from you again," he says. "Even if it costs me everything else." She steps closer. "Here is what I need," Emma says. "No secrets. No protection disguised as kindness. I choose when help enters my life." "You will always choose," Daniel replies. She exhales. Then slowly she reaches for his hand. "I am still angry," she says. "I know. But I'm also proud," she adds. "And that matters." Daniel smiles, soft and real. As the room hums with quiet conversation, Emma realizes something profound. He did not try to win her back with wealth. He listened. He learned. And he acted in a way that left her dignity intact. For the first time since the reveal, her heart feels steady again. And this time she knows exactly who he is. And exactly who she is choosing. The weeks that follow are quiet in the best way. There are no grand announcements. No interviews. No sudden changes that feel too big to hold. Life simply settles. Emma keeps working at the diner. She still walks home the same way, still stops at the bookstore, still draws late at night at her small kitchen table. The difference is that now her sketches hang in places she never expected. The community center becomes a second home. People stop her to talk about her work. Not because of who Daniel is, but because of who she is. Daniel does not rush her. He shows up when invited. He listens more than he speaks. He learns the rhythm of her days instead of rearranging them. When he offers help, it is always a question, never a decision made for her. One evening, Emma finds him sitting on the bench near the mural, the same one where they once stood on opposite sides of the street. "You are early," she says. "I like waiting here," he replies. "It reminds me where I almost lost you." She sits beside him, their shoulders brushing lightly. "I thought loving someone powerful would feel overwhelming," she says. "But this feels steady." "That is because you did not disappear inside me," Daniel says. "You stayed yourself?" She smiles. "And you finally showed up as yourself too." Months later, on a quiet afternoon, Daniel asks her to walk with him through the park. There is no crowd, no stage. Just trees and soft sunlight. They stop near the edge of the path. "I do not have a speech," he says. "I learned that words only matter when they are honest." Emma waits. "I want a life where we choose each other every day," he continues. "Not because of money, not because of mistakes, but because we see each other clearly. He reaches into his pocket and pulls out a small ring. Simple, unassuming, thoughtful. I am not asking you to belong to my world, he says. I am asking to build one with you. Emma laughs softly, tears welling before she can stop them. Yes, she says, but only if we keep choosing honesty. Always, he replies. They do not rush the wedding. When it happens, it is small. Friends from the diner, neighbors from the building, artists from the center. No headlines, no spectacle, just two people standing in truth. Later, as they walk home together, Emma squeezes Daniel's hand. You know, she says, if I had not crashed into you that night, he smiles. The best mistake I ever made. Emma laughs. Sometimes love does not begin with perfection. Sometimes it begins with a misunderstanding, a spilled glass of water, and the courage to choose authenticity over comfort. And sometimes the coldest hearts learn to open simply by being seen.